In this recording, we will present the general instructions for quizzes, laboratory assessments, and major examinations. First, quizzes, laboratory assessments, and major exams will be assigned via Teams and will be hosted through Microsoft Forms. Make sure that when taking quizzes, lab assessments, or major exams, your NU account is logged into the Teams app or on your browser. So, this is individual submissions with your identity being checked using your NUIS account. And the only time that you will be able to um, place your name or identity into your paper is when you work is on the answer sheets, which in which you would place your name. Okay, but basically you would be identified using your NUIS account. So make sure that when you take your quizzes, laboratory assessments, and major exam, it is your account, it is your NUIS account that is logged in to either the Teams app or on the browser. Uh, Here's what you would be expecting when quizzes are posted into when the time comes that your quizzes is now posted and is now running. Okay, so you would be seeing an announcement from Teams. Okay, and if you click on the view assignment, and this should be your view. This is what you will be looking at when you are when you click that view assignment. Okay, so here's the general flow of the events for these activities. At a designated dated time, teams will announce the assignment of the activity and the opening of access to the activity form. Documents required for these activities, such as questionnaire and answer sheets, will also become available for the access at this point in time. So basically, the questionnaire would be on the forms. The answer sheet would be given in a separate link. Um, Normally on the form itself. The activity form and activity documents remain accessible to everyone for the duration of the activity. Okay, this duration is announced days before the activity, but in general, quizzes are open for 6 to 8 hours, while lab assessments and major exams cover 3 to 4 days. They actually depend on how much time do we have for each of those activities. But these are the general duration that you can expect. Um, Reports must be uploaded, and the activity must be turned in Teams before the designated time of submission. So you must make a submission at the end. After you are done with the activity, you must click on submit button on the Microsoft Forms in order for you to turn in your work. At the designated time of submission, access to activity documents will be cut off. Request for access at this point will not be entertained. So after the duration of the activity lapses, all the access to the pertinent forms uh, and files will be cut off. So make sure that you have all of those files before the time lapses. For quizzes, activity form will still be accessible via Teams and will still accept submissions up to 1 hour after the designated time of submission lapses. This 1 hour is actually not is also flexible. It's either 1 hour or 2 hours depending on how much time do we have for the activity. Uh, However, submissions made within this time frame is considered late. Late submissions will incur point deductions proportional to tardiness. The later you submit the later that you turn in your work, the more deduction uh, will your work incur. But this is within this is within the late submission period. So basically for quizzes there is a first deadline and the final deadline. So the first deadline, within the first deadline, if you submit your work on or before the first deadline, there is no deduction. But if you submit your work beyond the first deadline and before the final deadline, um, there will be deductions proportional to how much late your work has been turned in. After this period of late submission lapses, teams will close the activity and will cut off access to activity forms. Requests for submissions beyond this point will not be entertained further. So, whenever After the final deadline lapses, there will be no exception. There will be no accepting of submissions further. Even if you send your submissions via email or via email or any other means, it would not be entertained. So every submission must be turned into the Microsoft Forms. For lab assessments and major exams, access to activity form and documents will cease at the designated time of submission. There's no late submission period for lab assessments and major exams. Requests for submissions beyond this point in time will not be entertained. So there will be no grace period. There will be no late submission period for lab assessments. There's only one deadline for lab assessments and major exams, and that is the final deadline. So on or before the final deadline, everything must be submitted, and everything beyond that, and no submissions will be accepted beyond that final deadline. So what you would be seeing first is for example, for a quiz, it would be due at a certain time, say 10 p.m., and it will close at around 12 midnight, yeah, at 11:59 p.m. on that same day. So meaning, if you submit before 10 p.m., you're okay. But if you submit between 10 p.m. and 11:59 p.m., there will be deductions based on how much late you are from 10 p.m. And if you and you cannot submit your papers after 11:59 p.m. So that's how it goes. Okay. Now, again, make sure that this is your account. Okay. Make sure that this is your account, or this is your account that is logged in to this Teams. If you click this one, um, you will be able to see your quiz. Okay. This is the questionnaire basically, and the first thing that you will have to see is the activity name. Okay. In which case this is quiz one. Um, and then a download link which directs you to the download link for the answer sheet. I will also place in your actual quiz. I will also place a link to the instructions. Okay, so that you can read them before you can take your quiz. So click this one. Okay, click this one, and you'll be able to see this, okay, in which there will be a bunch of answer sheets here depending on how many questions there are in your quiz. So you click on them. Okay, click on all of those and then download them. Okay, so what you would be downloading is a zip file. So your zip file would be something like this one. Okay, and then you have to extract this one. You would have to extract this one, and then um it would be extracted on a folder named answer sheets. So this would be where you would be working on. Okay, so expect that there are many files here in actual quiz or in actual activity, quiz, laboratory assessment, or major exam or final exam. There will be many files here. Okay, which would correspond to the number of questions there are in your in your quiz in your activity. If you're to use your phone for this one, you might have problems in you might have problems in um, downloading the zip file. Okay, but as per my experience, I did not have any problems at all. So I was able to download and extract it, and open it using my Microsoft Office, Microsoft Word 2016 app in my phone. Okay, I'm using a Huawei phone here. But I'm not sure how would this turn out to with other phones. Okay. Anyway, if you will be having some problems here, you may ask for assistance from me. Okay. Or oh yeah, you may ask for an assistance from me by sending me a message over Teams. I would most probably be online during the period of your activity. Okay. Um, so now we proceed. Okay. So this is now your questionnaire. Okay, and this is now um your answer sheet. This will now be your answer sheet. Okay. So I have already downloaded and opened it. Okay. So now we will go to the part where we will have to answer your questions. Okay. So when answering your questions, this should follow. Okay. This should follow the guidelines that were discussed with you um, on writing your reports. Okay. The general rule is that you have to follow those guidelines. Okay. And these guidelines are found under content library course announcements on writing your reports. Okay. So the manner by which you would write your report for this activity should be consistent with how we talk about this um, in when we discussed in this. Okay, when we discuss about when we had a discussion about writing your reports. But basically, I reiterated them here. Okay, and summarize it into the following. So answer the questions as candid and as comprehensive as possible. Provide all the necessary details to support your response. These details include, but not limited to, okay, an elaborate and detailed narrative, discussion, or justification of your argument, all grounded on facts and is written personally by you. Um, Illustrative figures, diagrams, schematics, and related graphics with a discussion. A narrative that clearly presents the procedure, methods, techniques, concepts, or principles involved in solving a mathematical problem. Raw and/or processed data in tabular or graphical form with a discussion. Computer codes when used as part of calculations or analysis of data with a discussion of its purpose, function, and flow and references. Okay, so these are the things that could be used to support your responses, support your answers, and and questions may or may not explicitly require them. Okay, if they are not if they are explicitly required, if the question explicitly requires one of them, for example, if you're asked to plot a certain function, okay, um, exclusion of a plot in your response would make your score very low, or most of the time zero, okay, for that particular item or particular part. Okay, but if they are not explicitly required, say for example, you're just simply asked a certain question, but you have provided a plot to support your answer, that may increase your chances of obtaining a higher score, okay, for that particular part of the question. Okay, so they may remember that your question may or may not require any one of this. Okay, at least at least one of this would be required. Okay, but if you providing them, whether they are required or not, will increase your chances of obtaining a higher score. Okay, so some of the things that you have to remember. Okay, in particular with quizzes, laboratory assessments, or major exams. First is do not directly lift narratives and discussions from your references, even if you intend to cite your sources. Meaning textbook answers, solution manual answers, and the likes are not allowed and will be scored very low. Copy your classmates' answers or leave answers from old notes or solution manuals. This may constitute cheating if if I am able to document that there is a strong evidence that links your answer to one of your classmates or many of your classmates, that may constitute cheating and would cause for you to score a zero for for a particular activity, for the particular activity concerned. Okay. Let your classmates copy your answer. Again, this constitutes cheating. Okay. Leave necessary details out of your response and write in unnecessary stuff into your response. Okay. So I would be expecting that your response is clear and concise and coherent and comprehensive. So those are some of the things that I would really look into your responses, and writing responses on the basis of those four: clear, concise, coherent, and comprehensive, would increase the chances of you um, um, getting a very high score for that particular part of the question, and of course original. Okay, so clear, concise, coherent, and comprehensive, and original. Okay. Now, each question is assigned with a question code. Okay, so there is a question code that is assigned for each question. You would be seeing it here. Okay, so here is the question code for this particular question. Okay, the templates for the answer sheet for each question will be provided to you. Okay, that's the first step that you have to do. So download them first. Okay, so download the templates into your device. The file in the template should match one of the question codes. So basically, what we are seeing here is the question code QZ101, and you were able to download the answer sheet for QZ101. So those are the two corresponding question and answer sheet. Okay, so make sure that you would be working on the correct question and the correct answer sheet. Okay, the matching criteria is the question code. Okay, so fill up. Um, so the answer is already formatted and set to be edited. So this answer sheet does not need any more formatting. Okay, any major formatting. Okay, so basically um, what you just have to do here is to write your answers. Okay, and also notice that questions QZ101, for example, here has two parts. Okay, so we call this part A and part B. Okay, so this is the entire question, and these are the question parts. So we have question part A and question part B, or question 1 part A and question 1 part B. Okay, so you would also the number of parts a question contains. For example, in this case 2. Okay, would correspond to the number of spaces provided for each. Okay, so we have question 1. Sorry, question 1 part A and question 1 part B. Okay, um, which is provided with separate spaces. Okay, so you would erase this answer here. Okay, later on when you write your answers, and then you would work on your response here. Okay, now but before that, on the header of the answer sheet, fill up the information required. Okay, so we will have to first to fill up this, okay, with your surname, given name, and middle name. So follow the format given. So this is okay, and then course title, which is say for example feedback and control systems. Say the course code for this for your class is ECFB CK30, and then the section is say ECE 191. Okay, so those are the information that you have to record. Okay, so you need to fill this up. If this is not filled up, there will be deductions. Okay, then place the question code here. Okay, so the question code is QZ101. Okay, and then I'll be the one placing the total score here. Okay, so just fill up the question code here. Okay, now um, place your answers either by typing in or inserting scanned images of your handwritten answer, or both, on the space provided. Okay. If you opt to upload scanned images of your handwritten work, okay, set its width to 7.2 inches while maintaining the original aspect ratio of the image, and crop the image so that it only contains the necessary parts. I have here an example of a written answer sheet. So here, so what is being asked in the question is for us to solve this differential equation, okay, using Laplace transform, okay, or solve this initial value problem using this Laplace transform, okay, and B, solve the same problem but this time present your solutions via a handwritten report. Okay, so these are the two ways that you can compose your report, either by typing it or by scanning a handwritten report. So when you are typing it, okay, just remember again, refer to the discussions that we had on writing your reports. Okay, so how to properly present your report in a professional manner. Okay, so that it will not be really um, it would be professional looking, and at the same time easier to read and understand, so that I would also be able to give a correct and proper feedback, okay, and score um, your work properly. Okay, so as you can see here, I'll be giving you a link to this example, so that you'd be able to emulate this one. Okay. Now, while when you are answering, or when you would be intending to use a scan image, okay, make sure that okay, the width of your scan image covers the entire page. Okay, so the width from here, from this point, okay, up to this point, should be set to 7.2. Okay, this width should be set to 7.2, but just make sure that you are locking in the aspect ratio. Okay, so that the given figure, or the scanned image, is not distorted. Okay, so, and then I would be able to read the words, okay, and your equations and whatever there is in your report. Also, um try to crop, if this is an entire image, okay, if this is an entire image, and the image does not fit the page, okay, try to crop them. Okay, for example, what I did here, okay, what I did here was this one. um so I'll start here, okay, and then uh I'll insert this one. Okay, which will go to the next page, okay, because it is too large, or it's too long. Okay, so what I did was, I would crop this, okay, until probably um here, okay, so that it would go to the first page, okay, so that there's no large space between this and your image. Okay, and then set the width to 7.2 as stated. Okay, so crop your image, okay, and then insert another copy. Okay, insert another copy of that, but this time crop out those part that were included in the first one. Okay, so we will start our crop image from here, I think. Okay, so there, so we crop it here, and then again, let's set the image to the width of the image to 7.2, and then we insert the third part. Okay, and adjust the width to 7.2, again, just to cover the entire width of the paper. Okay, so there, so this is a more sleek looking report. Okay, which I would expect that your report should be more or less something like this. Okay, so images used for illustrations, graph, tables, and other non-text objects must be sized so that they do not look like distorted. Cite sources of these objects when used in your report. Use equation editor to write equations as you were instructed in the on your writing report discussion. Okay. If you do not have any response to a particular item, write no answer, okay, on the space provided. If you do not have responses to the entire question, okay, again, item refers to question parts. Okay, so this is question this is an item. Okay, this is an item, and the entire thing, okay, this entire thing is a question. Okay, so if you do not have an answer, for example, in part A, simply write no answer. Okay, but you are expected to write an answer here. Okay, it is just that you don't have an answer for part A, but you have an answer for part B. So still you have to submit, but please write no answer for this particular part. Okay, and then write your answer here. Okay. But if you don't have an answer for the entire thing, for the entire question, then just simply ignore that question and do not upload any file. Okay. So there. The form only accepts docx files to be uploaded. Make sure that your answer sheets are saved with the correct file name and the correct file format. The file name of the answer sheet provided to you already corresponds to one of the question codes. Just make sure that you are uploading the correct answer sheet to the correct question. So here, our file name is already QZ101, which is your answer to question code QZ101. Okay, so let us click on upload and upload that file. Okay, uh, let's say this one. Okay, so that's our QZ1015. That's the one that we have worked on. Okay, and so I'll have to close it first. Okay, so let's make that one. Okay, and just make sure that it is on a docx file. Okay, not PDF. The the format should be docx, and the file name, this file name, should correspond to the question code. Okay, so that now, just for example that you are done already, click submit. Okay, if you're done with all of the questions, if you have uploaded all of the files that you have already that you have written for the questions, click submit. Okay, so there, so that completes your your quiz. Okay, so do not, okay, again, edit the templates provided to you directly. Okay, meaning the when w- do not um do not edit this one. Anyway, this is not editable, so you won't be able to really edit this one. Okay, and but just in case that you are given a shared link, okay, for your templates, do not edit them. Okay, just make sure that the edit that your answer sheet is in your device before editing them. Okay, do not change the file name of the templates. Okay, so do not change the typesetting of the templates, including fonts, paragraphs, width of the column of the tables, etc. Okay, upload dark, illegible, distorted, and improperly scanned documents, images, tables, and etc. Okay, so please be mindful of those things. Okay, now the highest possible score for each equation is indicated. Okay, if you may be looking at it. Okay, again, um, there is a part there that indicates the highest possible score here. Okay, so the highest possible score is 20. Okay, for this question. Okay, each question part is worth 10 points. So basically, if a question it has 3 parts, each of those parts has 10 questions. So therefore, for that particular question, your highest possible score is 30. Okay, so each part is equally scored. Okay, um, it is graded. Okay, each part is graded using a 5-level rubric as shown below. Okay, so there are 5 levels for this. Sorry, this should be 8 to 10 points. Okay, this should be 8 to 10 points. Okay, this is 5 to 7 points, 3 to 4 points, and 1 to 2 points. And of course, no point for no answer. Okay, you can see this this rubric in each answer sheet, and this will be my basis in grading your quizzes. Okay, so um during the quiz or during the laboratory exams or during the laboratory assessment or major exams, I would be making sure that I am online and I will promptly answer your inquiries or questions. But I would be giving a definite timeline wherein I would be answering your questions, because I wouldn't answer questions, or I wouldn't answer concerns or inquiries that is very close to the deadline. Okay, so normally I would be answering questions at least up to 1 hour before the deadline. Okay, if our activity ends at 10 p.m., I will be answering questions up to 9 p.m. only. from 9 p.m. up to 10 p.m. You're all on your own. So I hope that you would not be rushing yourself, okay, rushing yourselves when it comes to this kind of activity. If you have concerns, raise it to me as soon as you can. Okay, if you are having problems with your internet, for example, and you'd see that you will have difficulty in submitting your exams or your submissions, you would have difficulty in making your submissions. Please tell me as early as you can. Okay. And I would not entertain last minute questions. I would not entertain questions that are very close to the time limit. So that is one thing that you have to remember. Okay. So that ends our discussion on the mechanics of your quizzes, laboratory assessments, and major exams.